I truly want to thank the students for maintaining their voice and offering all of their voices, all of your voices, in support of the College of Ethnic Studies. It warms my heart. It reconnects me back to when I was 18 years old and supporting my friends who led the strike and were participating in the strike back then. And yes, I am that old. So allow me to offer some thoughts and some recommendations as we move ahead. Number one, I remain committed to the College of Ethnic Studies. From the first day of my appointment, I refused to merge it. I refused to even consider eliminating it, as I do to this very day today. I have worked to develop a fundraising plan in support of many of the faculty and with the dean. Number two, the difficulty of developing a solid and lasting budget base is extremely difficult when you carry forward debt. And this is the case across the university, not just in academic affairs and in the College of Ethnic Studies. The leadership team has responded to significant facilities failures and an inadequate budget prior to and since my arrival. In 2012, I was welcomed to San Francisco State knowing that of the 23 CSU campuses, we were number 22 in dollars per FTE. That means that we got less money than 21 other universities. Chancellor White has made significant steps in eliminating that gap, and he has heard me loudly defend you and defend this university to rebench and rebench the budgeting process that occurs at the Chancellor's office. The issue with ethnic studies exemplifies the need for a different way to allocate budgets. For example, we are examining a new allocation model where deans get their final budgets in August rather than in January. And if I were a dean, and I once was, I'd want the money up front and let me manage it through the year. While this is being finalized, and I want to say this very clearly to you, while the plan is being finalized, there will be no changes in the number of classes and lectures in the College of Ethnic Studies. Remember, the governor has not issued the budget for next year, and I hope that you would join me in wanting to meet with him about our budget. I do not want to proceed with academic budgets as they are now configured and distributed. Let me say that again. I do not want to proceed with academic budgets as they are now configured and distributed. The technique was effective during the recession and thereafter. One of my favorite phrases that you'll hear a lot is that we have to stop using an old tool to solve a new problem. We need a new level of transparency. I am asking each of the college deans to form a budget advisory committee composed of faculty, staff, and students. And I will ask the chair of the Academic Senate to plug these committees into the Senate committee structure. The old tool, as we are currently configured, left far too much knowledge in the hands of too few people. Students ask me for more transparency, and I agree. I demand that student reps consistently show up and help us move forward. I will expect Mr. Cortez and Dr. Rosser to begin immediately to reconfigure budget planning and transparency of the Academic Affairs Unit with the other units of the university. This fits my goal of establishing and maintaining a 5-year planning model for the university. Remember, we are still one of the lowest funded CSUs with one of the worst physical plants in California. And last, the university will increase the allotment to ethnic studies by $200,000 in 2016-17 to allow planning by the faculty, staff, students, and the dean. and I will seek a commitment to engage in fundraising more fully by the Dean and the faculty.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Provost Sue Rosser, we believe it's your turn. Before Provost Sue Rosser comes up here, we'd like to get a statement of the demands from the President Wong.
29th, by 5 o'clock.
My response is I need to study them. I'll bring that up with the leadership team. I also need to include Senate leadership as well as the representative labor units, as this interacts with a lot of those contingencies. So we will begin that.
By the 29th.
By the 29th. By the 29th. By the 29th. By the 29th. By the 29th. By the 29th.
No later than 5.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with all of you. When I look out at this audience of students and faculty, I remember the reason that I went into higher education. It's all about you and your future. That's why we're here. Yes, it is. In between the time when I accepted the position to become provost at San Francisco State and when I took the job, the bottom dropped out of the California economy. Many of you, especially the faculty, have heard me say that my first day on the job was a furlough day. I immediately arrived and found that budgets were in complete disarray, that my predecessor and the former president, Corrigan, had been forced to cut 10% across the board. This was a big shock to all of us, and then of course in our first paychecks we all experienced the 10% cut too. It was absolutely.
Only $100,000.
I'm talking about the furlough that every faculty member, lecturer, and administrator experienced in 2009-10. Many of you will remember that. The other thing that happened was that the budgets had been cut. We have not received yet back from the state the full amount of money that was cut at that time. And so, as the president said, all academic affairs has suffered, all colleges. Ethnic studies has suffered, but so have the other 5 colleges.
This is about equity.
We have tried. Each college has its own challenges, difficulties, and opportunities.
Will we get in a rec center?
All colleges.
He's going to handle it in the streets.
Be respectful.
I want you all to remember that this is supposed to be a safe space for all of us, and we need to respect the people who are talking. Thank you. Love y'all.
Thank you. And so we have tried very hard over the last 7 years that I have been here to crawl out of the budget hole in which we found ourselves. It's not been successful completely. Things are getting a little better, but during the last 4 years, ethnic studies did experience shortfalls. And from Central Academic Affairs, where we had money for the GE courses, some of you know these as augments and other things, we also took that extra approximately 200-some thousand a year to pay for any shortfall that ethnic studies had. I had asked for this for the last 4 years from my office when it happened. This year, we are now running out of money, and that is why we came to you and said this year there is a problem. Academic Affairs does not really have the money to continue to do it. So I'm very pleased that President Wong has said that he will find the money elsewhere. That makes a big difference for all of us. It's how it should be. We all need this. It's for our future. It's for our education. We want more money, but more importantly, we need to make our voices known in Sacramento because the CSU is vastly underfunded. This is where most of the students in the state of California are educated. The UC is a tiny group. The community colleges are very important, but each of those groups has obtained funding. From Proposition 30, the community colleges have done very well, and the UCs have done very well from the governor. The CSU has not done as well. And so I ask you to make your voice heard in Sacramento, as you have here today, and let the governor know the need that we have.
They need more money to steal in this minute.
Do you promise to be there with us in Sacramento?
You said it. You heard it. You heard it.
We're going to have to discuss this with the rest of the student body. However, we'd like to get back to the deadline we set for our demands.
That's right.
We needed a response by February 29th, the last day of Black History Month.
Yes!
We need to hear those words come out of one of your mouths. So I don't know who's going to come up here, but it's got to be somebody.
Tell him, Sophia. They need to say they need to see it. We're not leaving either.
It's got to be numbers.
Numbers. We want an audit of the stolen money.
Otherwise, we need numbers and numbers now. No statements. We need numbers.
Those leadership, yeah.
We need numbers. We need numbers.
We need numbers. We need numbers. We need numbers. We need numbers. We need numbers.
Okay, let's see what the guys say.
We're at 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Thank you for having me up here. Obviously, it's going to take more than 30 seconds to give you the budget. But the framework that this works on, and let me use my 30 seconds effectively, is the way that it works. I want to respond to Ken Montero about the fact of how the university budget, that this may be a signal that there are problems. It goes back to what the president said about our funding. The campus initially, upon the president's arrival, was in a $7.5 million structural deficit. Okay, that meant that we are spending more from our savings account. We're taking money out of our savings account to fill our operating costs. That number, that money, I think I can use my time more effectively.
Keep giving him seconds, guys.
Okay. That number is improving. That number, by the end of this year, will be $2 million. In other words, we're improving from 7.5 to 2. So I don't want to leave the impression, what Dr. Ken Montero is, that this is an issue that is getting worse. The issue is getting better. Okay, hold on. You can let me finish. Okay. The issue is the way that the budget is structured. This is an issue where we give money to each of the cabinet members, academic affairs, advancement. It's how they allocate that money. But we're working our way out of the budget process as a budget for the campus. The issue here that we have is transparency, and I think that that is the issue. There's one question. Well, the issue is, hold here, and I heard the students say it, that they said it the right way. Okay, you want me to get that?
No, man, go
Okay, the issue is whether you have the right allocation, or have you been overspending? That's the transparency.
We want numbers. We want numbers.
They start knocking deficit. How the deficit
I
start?
think that
Y'all been stealing money from
and
contracts.
the issue, and I think that the transparency doesn't allow that to happen. Okay, thank you. And I want to make this clear.
We want numbers.
To address the situation as well, President Wong said in his email to refer to the budget that is posted on the SFSU website. It says that College of Ethnic Studies receives $4.6 million every year. But then if you look at the money actually allocated after the budget, after the benefits that are given to our faculty that they deserve, it says that we only get $3.5 million.
Where's the money?
We cannot look at the ethnic studies saying that we are overspending, we are not providing for our college, when really we don't even have money to begin with. So we'd like to end this.
Where's the money? Where's the
We'll
money?
let you respond, but if it's only about the money, if it's only about the number.
Yo, why were we in a deficit in the first place?
Exactly.
Let him talk. Let's see what he has to say.
I will work with student leadership. We will meet. The question for me is when, where, and how, so that I can get the information to meet the February 29th deadline.
That's right.
So he can meet the deadline.
I'm Dorothy Saruda, Chair of Africana Studies. As the meeting was open, that I was insulted by President Wong's email to us.
Hell yeah.
My PhD is in English. It was the most rhetorical cliche mode I've ever seen. It started off saying all this wonderful support from us, for us, and then it gets to the but. But you are messing up, essentially, it was saying. When the provost and the president came to our department, our college meeting a few weeks ago, and I put frank to the president, is it lacking for us because we don't get enough in the first place? And he said yes. So why then send us this message? I think what the provost and president have done is lowbrow, and it should not be being done to us. And I feel there's a hostility towards our college that they need to make clear they don't have, because our dean, our faculty, our students have given them the benefit of the doubt, even returning holiday greetings to them. So I think that they, more in addition to the money, we need the money, but we need them to show respect for our college.
Okay, so I have a couple things I need to say. So we're going to continue having lecturers. Lecturers are up here helping the student organizers respond to the information we're getting from the president and from whoever that guy is. We want to invite everybody in this room. We're going to stay in here till they tell us we got to go.
Yep.
Okay, you can go to work then. But everyone else is staying here until they physically remove us. But we are having a rally out in the Malcolm X after this. Okay, so I'd like to introduce Andrew.